Hi, friends. Hi, beloveds. It's Ishte Aul here, your oracle, your spiritual guide, your channeler, to just check in and see how you're doing. Not so long ago, I recorded a channeling and a tarot oracle reading session to really look at the 3 months ahead, the first 3 months, the first quarter of 2025, to kind of give us a little glimpse of what to expect and really how we can make the most of it. And that's really what I aim to do with these sessions. And I'm always going to be fully transparent with you guys. I can't help it. One of the big things about my personality and one of the ways I identify is a highly sensitive person. So you may notice that I do readings a little different. I always make sure that when I do these readings, I'm ready to, meaning I have the energy, I have the desire, I have the inspiration to do it. And I'm actually finding myself pretty shocked to see that I'm here again in such a short amount of time. Something was really telling me to provide some guidance to my community about this first week and perhaps leaking into the second week. And I guess we've had a first week in January, but it wasn't a full week. This will be our first full week. And I'm recording this on Monday, January 6th. So for this week and leading into the next, there was a big juicy reading that came through. I was trying to make it really concise, but if you know me or as you get to know me, it's hard for me to keep things concise. I think I'm really good at translating things and making things digestible for others, but I can be really wordy. So if you're into that, then welcome. So, and when I do these readings, I'm going to do this reading again because I'm highly sensitive and because I've learned so much about what it is or how I function as a highly sensitive person. I realize that it helps me to pull the cards ahead of time, meditate on the message, and then there's only so much I can do on meditation. I come on, I record, and I channel as I'm sharing. There might be more or perhaps less to share than what I meditated on. The reading is going to be whatever it wants to be when I'm recording it. So again, I was intending to just pull a few cards for a week ahead, and I can help pull and go deeper. Another thing I want you to know about me is I like to study astrology. I can't say that I'm an expert. I am an expert of myself and my experience as I reflect on transits and whatever's happening. So in this reading, I feel called to share what is really sticking out to me about this week. And if you wanted to know some astrologers that I'd recommend, I can make some recommendations. I can put that together. I personally do one-on-one readings. And with astrology, I do offer natal chart readings that are very preliminary. So I am available for that if you wanted to do that with me. I'm happy to do that. And through the lens of a highly sensitive person, if you identify as such. So I'm going to point out a couple things here to look at. So today is Monday, January 6th. And the first thing I want to call out with astrology is that Mars is retrograde. It's been retrograde already for some time. And it was retrograde in the sign of Leo. It is now in the sign of Cancer. Retrograding. So whenever I say retrograde or whenever I think about a retrograde, I don't think of it as a negative thing anymore because I'm coming to a realization. Number one, it happens quite often. So it is part of the rhythm of what we move through, what we are experiencing all the time. So that's one. Two, retrogrades really speak to me in a way where it's a time for introspection. Retrograde just means that the planet, in relation to the Earth's movement, either is or looks like from point of view of the Earth, is moving backwards. So Mars, as I understand it, when it goes into retrograde, it is what it appears as though it is doing, because the Earth's orbit has now passed the orbit of Mars. And it looks like it's moving backwards. And I guess when we're talking about energy and the pool of planets from one another, or more specifically from Earth, because obviously that's where we live, then that is going to translate into how we may feel less of the energy, or it's not functioning in a way that we feel is forward moving. So let's talk about Mars as I understand it. Mars is connected to our bodies. Mars is about forward movement. It's about action. It's about willpower. It's also the part of us that wants to fight. And when we want to fight, it could be what we internally really believe to be true, and sometimes want to defend, or to go and get things done because we have a mission. So retrograde, it's now retrograde in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is a water sign, and it rules over our fourth house of home, family, nurturance. It's connected also to the Great Mother Earth. I find it to be connected to the underworld, and connected to, in this reading and in this space, I think it's missed often that Cancer is connected to the ancestral roots. And it's interesting, when I pulled cards, the ancestor came out, it came through. So, I invite you to explore more about what ancestry means to you. What's your relationship to ancestry? That may say a lot. Meaning ancestry, perhaps you have zero connection. That in itself says a lot, right? About how connected we are to the lineage, the ones that we know or may not know. And there's so many different kinds of lineages. And if you don't know me, ancestor work is really rooted deep into the practice that I do and the work that I've done on my own healing journey. So I can speak really deeply about that, but I don't want to go off because this recording will be really, really lengthy. So I say that all to say that Mars going into Cancer, my interpretation of that is that we become, in this period from now until mid-February, very introspective, or turning the energy of getting things done in respect to ourselves and us internally, what is happening within us. We've done a lot of outside work. Maybe in October was probably around the time that we were doing a lot of footwork. And then when it came to about November, I might have the dates wrong, we started to go introspective about, where am I putting my work? Is it worth it? Is it bringing value to myself and to the world? And now we get to bring it really closer in this space of, how am I applying it to the long haul? When we think about home, that's really where everything starts. It's our roots. Nothing else really doesn't matter if we don't have our foundational pieces really situated. So you may be thinking about finances, stability in some way, and also legacy could be coming up for you, and where you're putting the footwork to get those things in order, or at the very least starting to really just think about it, and perhaps seeing the world in that way from a place that's starting really internally and looking out. So again, Mars retrograde, Cancer, ruling over home. Remembering that this reading is a collective reading. I don't know your natal chart. I don't know what other aspects are happening there. So it could be tapping into other areas, but allow yourself to kind of look at things at a bird's eye view as I share this stuff. And so there's that for the next month and a half before it goes direct. Or I'm sorry, not even a month and a half, maybe a month and a week. So the next thing I want to talk about that's supposed to happen on the 11th of this week is the nodes. So North Node, South Node, everyone has those nodes on their charts, are changing position, changing themes. And it's interesting because through my study, I find that there's a lot of conflicting ideas around nodes. Popular astrology says that the nodes are connected to your purpose. Traditional astrology doesn't say that. It has to do with karma, right? It's about the seeds that have been planted, perhaps in a past life. And past life can mean, right? We all have so many lives even within the life that we're living. Or if you are open to the concept of having past lives in reincarnation, the South Node is connected to that. It's where we've been before, however you want to look at it. And the karma of what that has, what seeds we've planted in the past that perhaps are now influencing us now. And the North Node is an opportunity to see where we can plant new seeds for the future. That's how I interpret it. And so the nodes are changing. The North Node is, so the North and South Node are connected to dragon. Okay, so they're considered the dragon spaces. And North Node is the head of the dragon, where South Node is the tail, right? So North Node, kind of what we want for planted seeds of karma for the future. And then South Node are the things of the past that we may be like looking at, reflecting, and have opportunity to release. So the North Node was in Aries for the last year and a half, and South Node in Libra. So in simple terms, Aries is the I am, and Libra is always thinking about us or other, more so, I guess, because Aquarius is probably more about the us. Libra is about others and fairness. Aries is I am, what do I want, what do I need? And I realize I've been knocking on my microphone. Hopefully I haven't been making any weird noises. I guess we'll have to see. So the themes are changing now on the 11th. And the nodes are also where the eclipses happen. Eclipses being times of really being able to reset. Where the sun, we either have a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, but it's where the lunar eclipses happen. So when I think of that, my interpretation too is about when it's connected to the moon, it's really about what we want to feel, how things feel, our body, our emotional body as well, and how we process things. So as we move these nodes, the focus or the things that we'll probably be really hinting at and looking at, because there's so much other things going on, but you will get a sense that for the next year and a half, the themes are going to change too. Pisces being the unconscious, but it's also about the hidden realms and like what you can't see and the vision and the dream. And Virgo is about being an earth sign and more about the concrete details of how things work and all the little nitty-gritty things of getting it done. And perfectionism is part of that as well. And I think as highly sensitive people, if you identify with that, it'll be nice, I think, to see where we can kind of let go of those things of perfectionism and wanting to do things just so tightly, or sometimes we may not do things because we don't have a chance of doing it perfectly. And perhaps we'll have more of a feeling of, you know what, I'm going to let that go and just go for the vision, or allow myself to dream, even if I don't know all the details. So there we go. Year and a half of that kind of energy. Releasing, resets, right? And then the final thing I want to touch on, because this reading is kind of bleeding into the next week, is we're moving towards a full moon in Cancer. And the new moon in Cancer to the full moon in Cancer is roughly about 6 months. So think about where you were about 6 months ago. Again, Cancer being around home, family, roots. stability, underworld, lineage, legacy, all of those themes. And kind of coming to a fullness of like truly understanding where you've arrived and perhaps how things have changed around that. And yeah, Cancer is an emotional. It's at its perfected or most heightened state. Cancer is really the great mother, and also the contact for emotional maturity. Really being emotionally intellectualizing or fully really understanding what is happening and occurring on an emotional level. So perhaps there's an invitation here to really think about how far you've come with your own emotional intelligence. Do you understand yourself better? Have you been able to articulate your feelings more, even if it is just to yourself? Have you become honest about how you feel? And what have your bonds and maybe not so close bonds within family, how have those been tended to? And maybe it is beyond the realm of what you see. Perhaps there's a new relationship between you and ancestry, or one that you realize, you know what, I can see how that may strengthen me if I do have some connection to my ancestry. And if you're open to that, I'm here if you wish to have a session and learn more about how to connect. I have those services on my website that you can visit and learn, and we can do it online. And I also do things in person in the LA Pasadena area. So those are the things that are kind of happening within this week. And the full moon is on Monday the 13th. And the full moon energy really, I find, leads very well into about 3 days after. I hope to put something up so you can do a little ritual around that. You'll see it on my Instagram and TikTok as a way to, if you don't follow me there already, I welcome you to do so. Okay, so now I want to go into the cards that I pulled, and I felt really called to work with runes. There's a beautiful deck that I have. I have runes made of birch wood that are gorgeous from Russia, but I decided that I wanted to work with cards. It just seemed better as I learn more about it. Of course, as I pull these, I'm also getting intuitive hits about what it is. So that's really the flavor of what I read. When I do read anything, whether it be the tarot, oracle deck, runes, yes, there's like a foundational, maybe some key things here that I get, but mostly I'm getting a hit of what it might be outside of what you may read in a book. I'm getting other messages. So, okay. So I pulled some rune cards to tell us about the energy that will be the umbrella energy, that which is pouring over us, the auric energy around us for this next week and a half-ish kind of phase as we hit all these different points. And so what I got was, I like to pronounce it Raido or Raido. And Redo is a card about movement. It's about moving forward and a journey, but not just one with mindlessness. Redo comes to us when we actually have this intuitive connection of like, okay, I do have a feeling of where I want to go. Even if it is just a feeling, it's there. And we have that energy this month or this week and a half-ish through the full moon of kind of like, Now, let's not forget, we're still in winter. Spring is not until March. We still have a month and 2 months, 2.5 months, and still that winter space. Yes, the light is starting to grow. It is true, slowly, but we're still in the darkest part of the year. So don't be hard on yourself when it comes to like not moving quickly enough. I think Radio's here to tell you, yes, you have a sense of where to go. This isn't about rushing. It's about actually not necessarily being lost. It's actually like, I know where I'm heading, and how can I stay on the wheel of movement in the direction of where I want to go? Sometimes it is just about the brainstorming. That's movement too. You know, when we're talking about energy, or if we're talking about formulating a vision, right? North Node moving into Pisces, that's part of movement too. So I just want to invite you into changing your perspective on what movement really is, when it comes to really being with nature and the cycles of energy. So that is there for us. And the other card that I pulled was Anzus, and this is Odin. And it's really in reference to, when we're talking about the tree of life in the runes, there's 3 levels, right? There are the branches that move out, there's the center, and then there's the roots. And Anzus is referring to the roots. Anzus is connected to Odin, yes, but it's also connected to ancestors, right? So we can really take this as we are supported by ancestry, but it's also connection to God. Odin being the god when we're talking about runes, and in Germanic and other traditions, that Odin is God. He's also the nearest thing that speaks to the highest enlightenment. And what I'm gathering here is that the flavor around the movement of moving forward with Redo is one that is connected to spiritual guidance, or one that feels like it's somewhat of a calling. And the movement we're doing is to actually reach enlightenment, right? Whatever that might mean for you. Enlightenment means a lot to different people. For me, it means that I am more and more each time learning about myself and learning about everything that is of me. And that way I have power over myself. And I also have compassion and so much more that makes this life with less shackles or cuffs around perhaps obligation or misunderstanding, if you know what I mean. So I think it's quite lovely that we have these 2 here, and in support of this forward movement that we may be feeling. Okay, so the next thing I asked the guides was, okay, so under this umbrella energy of, okay, moving forward, knowing where we're going, and kind of being supported in moving in the direction that is supporting our own enlightenment and our own growth of the highest degree, what possibilities do we have, or what can we expect is as the energy under that as selves? I hope that makes sense, because what I'm going to say here is the guides wanted me to pull 3 tarot cards, and I'm sorry, I pulled 3 oracle cards of the Supra Oracle deck, and I want to show all 3 to you, and I want you to just take a moment and see which one you're guided to, which one you're pulled towards, because that one card is most likely the energy that you're going to be pulled into or invited to really fully take in. Okay. So the first card I pulled was, yeah, actually let me pull all 3, and that way you guys can see them all. And then I'm going to read them. I'm going to do it in order. So card 1, sageness. Card 2, stillness. And card 3, animus. So let's see if I can add these and see which one you feel called to be, or to perhaps what you'll be faced with. Okay, so I hope you've chosen, and I'm just going to go in order. And I'm going to read what Supra says about each card. So, sageness, I'm going to do first. Supreme accomplishments come through the agent of wisdom. Through the process of observance and contemplation, a path is formed and a union with the cosmic cycle is created. Powerful, encoded realms open up into sanctuaries of clarity and meaning where thoughts and actions take on deep significance. Sageness is the achievement of the living consciousness, which is profoundly in touch with an ancestral subconscious, and together they form the superconsciousness, an incarnation of the self called forth from the beginning of time in this circular dance of life. And really what I'm getting from this is that some of you are going to be met with affirmation that any time leading up to now was not wasted. You have spent time really meditating, really feeling, really integrating and processing everything that has occurred in the past year and a half or so, and have finally arrived at a place of deep integration and understanding. And that is the sageness, because now as you move forward or start moving forward, it's not blindly, fully. It is one that is fully supported, and it's almost as though you can't wait. I'm ready to go, but also really aware of what your capabilities are. There's a better known place for you of who you are, how you function, what you need to a certain degree or enough to move into action that is from a place of nurturance, right? And from a place of wholeness to the best that can be at this time. And you have that already built. So you're going to bump into some affirmation around that. Maybe that's what this is affirmation of that. And then I pulled some cards around what you can do in sageness to make the most of it. And I pulled the moon as the card to embrace. So the moon is not just mystery, it is spirituality in some way. It's really about having a relationship with the unseen. It's Pisces, having a relationship with the unseen, but it's also when we're in the moon phase, our senses and our intuition is heightened because we can't see it all. We have to move into a space of, okay, trusting yourself. What can I see? Just one step at a time, only so on and so forth, and maybe a little bit further, because the moon is kind of helping. That moonlight is really helping to show the path a little bit. But there's something primal about that. And ancestry being really present for you, that's primal energy too, right? It's really being connected to that space of, there's something that I was born with here, and that is also going to be nurtured. It is, to me, what I'm hearing right now is about not just authenticity, although that's so important to me and probably important to a lot of people, but it's about genuineness and purity of self is what I'm hearing. So that's where we get to really be here, is in the space of I don't see it all, and we get to be our most vulnerable in some space, and that's quite a lot of power and what you're invited to really embrace here. And what we get to let go of in sageness, to make the most of sageness, is Gemini, the Lovers. Gemini, and when I look at this card and what I received was like this intellect and like being able to have it be really clear and in a place of both. I can see what's ahead and what's here, and both of these spaces are really balanced, and I can really move from a place that is very centered in mind, like in, again, logic and intellect. That's what I see as the Lovers card in this reading, is to let go of it, one, making total sense, two, being able to see all the pieces really line up, again, making sense, strategizing, anything that has to do with strategy, kind of just letting go of those things. Although, strategy, it falls into that Virgo space, right? It's like trying to do it perfect. How can I do it in order? And what you're invited to do is not worry about order. Stay really connected to the intuition. Again, what is inspiring you? Go and allow that to be that which leads you forward. There's a lot of power in that. Eventually things will become clear, but in this week to 2-week period, it's not really about that. And you're probably already getting the sense of that. You already know, okay, one thing at a time. I see some things on the calendar right now. I'm only going to be present with what's here. I felt inspired to do such and such, and I did do it. And that's okay. One step at a time. So, sageness. Hey. Okay, so let's move into stillness. Stillness, I'm a fan, but also like stillness teaches me so much. I've learned so much from being forced to be still. It's work, but some of you are going to be called to be still. You might be in that energy already. So let's see what Super has to say about stillness. So guess what? You get to be met with stillness, and you are supported in doing that. Whoever chose that card. Stillness. Yeah, let me hold that because I like doing that. The practice of stillness is a return to the germinal state of potential, where we can hear the heartbeat of nature and enter into slow time, the quiet place of reflection and contemplation that allows you to observe the primal at work in the world and within you, and search out its vital essentials. All we need is here before us, waiting in stillness, happy to reveal and gift us its wanted simple pleasures and indispensable companionship. If we simply take the time to open ourselves to its quiet, rejuvenating essence. So, this is a good opportunity to really talk about the Gregorian calendar. You've probably heard of that term. Anyway, New Year's Gregorian calendar. Nature, beginning of the year, March, spring, when things begin to bloom. So for those of you that were called to stillness, you are being invited to really embrace that, because you perhaps haven't given yourself permission to do that even through the end of the year. You've been on maybe a go, go, go movement, and now you're welcome to really move into stillness to make the most of what is to come in the next, I would have to say, I keep hearing March. They keep telling me about March and spring really being about a lot of energy really coming forth for all of us of really great change. So you're either going to be on board and ready to go, or you're going to be totally depleted because you didn't give yourself permission to be still. Sageness, that group has already done a lot of stillness, has been really inside, has retreated, has thought, has contemplated. Stillness group, are those that have been busy, taken up by who knows what, anything. That now, to make the most of this little shift up until the full moon is high energy, high emotions. It's probably really good for you to be still, to pay attention to what is coming up for you. Maybe there are themes and topics that you haven't given yourself permission to really reflect on that you get to now for this next couple of weeks. Maybe this next weekend is the first weekend you have nothing to do. Guess what? Take advantage of it. That's what I'm hearing for you. And let's see what cards were pulled for you guys in stillness. We have to embrace. Okay, so I struggled with these cards when I got them for you. And I'm going to just channel through and see what wants to come. So to embrace, the 10 of Wands. So immediately as I held that up for you guys, 10 of Wands, they want you to embrace almost like the struggle or the realization that you've been doing too much. You've said yes to almost everything. And if you're a highly sensitive person, this might be a very common thing for you to do, not knowing boundaries or really your own limits of what you can do. You're not highly sensitive? Don't worry, maybe that doesn't apply, but just for you, you like to say yes to everything. Perhaps you're an opportunist. And up to now, you're looking at everything that you've gathered when it comes to really putting and exerting your energy, creativity, fire, right? Fire is forward moving, creativity, moving forward, connected, like kind of Mars energy, right? And so in this next week and a half, 2 weeks, you get to kind of face the demons or face the facts around having so much to do. Because in that struggle, you get to be really honest with yourself. We're coming to an end of a cycle. Full moon is the end of a cycle. We get to really reflect and really tap into our emotional body about what does that feel like to really carry all of this. To say yes to everything, or maybe not giving myself permission to think about something before I commit. And those are the kind of things that might come up for you as you go into this next week of like, I need to just be still. And in that stillness, you can really just look at all the shit on the wall. Right? Oh, fuck. How have I been able to keep this up? So embrace the 10 of Wands. Maybe you're going to keep saying yes and keep going, and in that come to the realization that you're burnt out. You're burnt out, which is a whole other level. Being burnt out and exhausted, two different things. Burnt out is something that is deep and soulfully deep, that does not just require sleep. It is so much more and so much deeper. This is an invitation for you to really look at that and let go of the Princess of Wands. To me, when I see that and I hear it, it's the type of energy that tells me it's kind of like playing the role of denial, maybe. If it was reversed, might be a little bit more of denial, but that's what I'm hearing. It's like denial of like your capacity. Like, or, letting go of the role of like, I don't know what I'm really capable of, or you know what, I can do that because I'm an opportunist. And if I want, maybe we are stuck with certain beliefs that say you need to work hard to be successful, perhaps, or beliefs that I'm nothing unless I do something. And so those concepts, I think, do belong to the Princess of Wands because, Princess of Wands is also the Page of Wands. They're one and the same. They're pretty much the same card, right? They're the same card. And the page is really one that's like, oh my God, I have this ability to really work to learn how I may exude my energy, my creativity, where I put that and put forth. And okay, yeah, I'm going to submit to the societal norms of working and extending myself to be successful. Or if I don't do work, I'm not valuable. And so for those that have a less evolved consciousness, that is it to me in this reading, the Page of Wands. It's somebody who is just like, okay, that's the thing to do. That's what the crowd says I should be doing. So I'm gonna go with that. But the collective, your guides, are saying that is expired. You know better. You have learned that those things are not true, or you've been around people that you see or even on social media, you see people they don't submit to that anymore. People are moving and shifting and saying, wait a second, this isn't how it works. I can build my own reality. And in that reality, I can build it in a way that really supports who I truly am, the truth of my own capabilities and my capacity of energy. Stillness. That's your message. Okay, so let's move to that final group, Animus. This is an interesting one, and I had a lot to think about when I meditated on this, but who knows, I might have less today because, Okay, Animus. I'm going to show you the card. Carved out of the masculine and gifted to the feminine, the Animus is a shining offering of logic. Its heavenly brilliance illuminates a woman's thoughts and lightens her limbs and soul by lending clarity and a sense of purpose to her perceptions that are waiting, dark and fertile, ready to blossom in its pollinating dawn. But when squandered or corrupted, this masculine voice no longer delights in the soul of a woman. Its powerful light fades, and those vast fields of far-sighted thought lose their clarity, becoming entangled in the lonely knots of emotional confusion that make them prey to the fate of an unlived life. That was like a hefty one, honestly. And I'm going to just make sure I have the cards out here, which I thought I did. Okay, so let me get to that, and then hopefully I can find the tarot cards. I hope I haven't lost them. So, Animus, group Animus. In this next week and a half, 2 weeks, you're going to... Perhaps there has been something that's been incubating. You've had an idea, you've had a want or a desire, maybe a few, not just one, right? About maybe how you want to do this year different, how you want to just do anything different for yourself. And in the feminine, you're kind of gestating that. You're kind of holding it in the womb, holding it in the space of really contemplation and real care, maybe. And what I hear with Animus is that some intellectual, logical perspective will probably enter your space. And that could be, in my opinion, something, or my sense, is that it's something external. It's not something from within. Maybe it is something from within, but the first part is it could be something that you've shared with someone else, and they have then penetrated your idea with their own reflections, own desires, own perspective, and now you will be toggling between the two. And in that energy, you may feel stuck, and it's what will keep you from moving forward. But your other choice is to consider those things and not fully adopt them. Either way, you're going to be met up with, even if it is intrusive thoughts, maybe it isn't somebody else, maybe it is your own ego, doubt, shadow, one and the same, that is going to be getting in the way. And you're going to be very, very aware of that in the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks. So just know that's what's coming, and it doesn't mean defeat. I think there's really great power in realizing what is heart-centered, what is within your soul, in the heart of desire, a calling perhaps, the difference between that and your shadow. Because even those outside of you that you allow to penetrate your thoughts and ideas and you give them permission to have power are simply a reflection of your own self-doubt and self-shadow. Right? If it, at some degree within you, you didn't really believe that, you would dismiss it, right? Somebody called you, God, you're just so ugly. If you were a very confident person and you found yourself to be very attractive, that wouldn't matter. But if there's a shadow or an aspect of you that really does think that, then that's when we give permission. And then again, so that's what I mean about the outside, the external being really an aspect within us, because it's hitting a certain trigger when they speak certain things. Or maybe somebody will say, but how are you going to do that? Don't you need money? Don't you need permission? Isn't there a limitation here? Why would you want to do that? Oh my God, so many people are going to be either jealous or, and you know, that person's probably talking about themselves, right? So, okay, give me a second because I think I lost the cards to that. Okay, so that's sageness. Then we have this. Oh, it fell. Okay. Okay. So, and I'm going to confirm, but okay, now I'm pretty sure. So in this, the guides are asking you to let go of the three, I'm sorry, to embrace the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is really about, it's a combination of things. One, you've made it pretty far, or you've not like far, but you have earned the status of experienced, right? You've earned the title of, I've done this before, I've learned, I've taken the classes, I've experienced life in such a way that I can make an informed decision, or I don't need to depend on these certain faculties or people or aspects to make a decision for myself, right? I've learned enough from these teachers that I now have the skill myself. And that's what the two wands are, because there's three, right? These are what the two wands on the side are about. You know, it's like kind of building up the skill and the capacity and the ability of kind of honing in on where your energy is, your creativity, and how to get things done. The third wand says, okay, I've attained the skills and the knowledge, have put it into practice enough, and now I get to imagine, I get to visualize where I want this to take me in a place that is really settled into more confidence, right? More belief in yourself. You know, like, you know what, I've done this so far. Like, nobody outside of me, you know, it's kind of having that conversation. No one outside of me is going to have the better answer for me than me. And I get to dream. And I don't have to share, you know, and maybe there'll be an interaction that'll be like, I don't have to tell that to other people. I don't need to consult others. Or maybe I only consult with people I trust. And I get to really think about, you know, you get the permission to really think and dream ahead of where you want this to go. Yes. And let go is the Queen of Pentacles. So, Queen of Pentacles is the one that has it all together. Like, has it all together, knows how to, is the responsible one when it comes to all the matters of material realm, knows how to create a nurturing home and a nurturing space for self and others. When it comes to materialness, maybe a good bed, a roof over their head, a stable job, something that is dependable, and letting go of what that might mean, perhaps in this vision that you have or the things that you want to attain. You're worried about being able to support yourself or the life that you've had and how that might change in the future. And letting go of perhaps what it is to you in definition right now to be a Queen of Pentacles, somebody who really just has it all and nothing ever changes. Maybe that's the other thing too. I'm afraid of what will change, and maybe not being honest with yourself that is a fear, that you're afraid of change. And the guides are saying, allow yourself to visualize other possibilities. And yes, by doing so, you will probably need to loosen your grip around how you view or understand reality. It doesn't need to be crazy drastic. But when we do step into a new form of power, things change. They need to be able to fit the new reality in. If that reality you want, that vision, is not actually in your present, then it's because what is around doesn't allow it to be. So you need to create space for it. That's what I'm hearing through these cards. It's quite hefty. Animus. That's not easy. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. I'm sorry for those of you that are looking for a sugarcoating reader. That's not my style. But I will say that, I'm here about doing the work. You're going to face those things so you can, all about growth. You're heading still in the right direction. Should you lean into the things that are uncomfortable? So, I thank you guys for being here. We'll see when I feel called to do another reading. There's so much going on astrologically, intuitively, a lot of things happening for me as well. Again, I'm here for one-on-ones. I'm available for that. You're welcome to reach out to me via email if you're not quite sure on my website which service is best for you. We can definitely do a consultation and see what is best suited. But I love doing these and enjoying them so far. And I wish you guys a very wonderful week and happy new nose on the 11th.